Hey there, and welcome to the 2021 Stanley Cup Playoff Round 1 prediction video. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. As a matter of fact, there are so many difficult matchups that are happening in the first round of the playoffs this year, but I wanted to walk through, give it a shot, and see what you think about my predictions. Now, granted, I'm going to make these predictions. A lot of people disagree with me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have some stuff that's real off the wall that a lot of people would look at and be like, that guy is absolutely insane. But I wanted to go ahead and make them because I think that there is a legitimate chance that some of these really do happen. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start in the Honda West division because, let's be fair, the Honda West division has two of the best teams in hockey with Colorado and Vegas. The other thing is, though, is they also have St. Louis in there, who has won a Stanley Cup in the last few years, and Minnesota, who is a blast to watch all season long with incredible rookies, fun playmakers, and just a team that you want to turn on the TV for the first time in the Minnesota Wild history. I don't know, but I wanted to go ahead and walk through my predictions. We're going to start with the Colorado Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues. I am not fully confident on all of these. This is one that I'm very confident on. I am super, and I think the world is confident on, by the way. Colorado is going to walk all over St. Louis. I'm sorry, Blues fans, but I think we all see the writing on the wall here. Colorado is just such a good team, and it's not just because they won the President's Trophy. It's because they have a stacked forward group, a solid D-core. They're getting decent goaltending, if not good goaltending is what you could say, from Grubauer. And Colorado has a shot to make a run at the Stanley Cup here. They're the favorite. They won the President's Trophy, and St. Louis is just too beat up to even hold a candlestick to them. I would say this is going to be a sweep, but I think that it's probably going to be around 5 games. That's my guess on that series. Next up, we have one of my favorite series that I'm going to love to watch. We have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wild. Now, these two teams in the regular season did not like each other. It was a war every single time. Because of that, I want this game to go 7 series. It's one of the 7 games. It's one of those series that you absolutely want to watch. But Minnesota had Vegas's number this year, and the crazy thing is that was one of the few teams who did have Vegas's number this year. Vegas is the number 1 seed. Going to T-Mobile Arena makes it an incredibly difficult place to play, but this is going to be my biggest upset that you're going to see on this. I think the Minnesota Wild win this series. I think it's going to take 6 or 7 games, most likely 7. Like I said, I want to see that. But I think the Wild are that team who's going to be gritty. They're going to be good. And they're going to be strong. And I think that they have a shot at knocking off the Vegas Golden Knights here. Now, I might eat my words on this after Vegas sweeps Minnesota, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Minnesota is going to find a way to get under the skin of Vegas and somehow come out on top with a victory, which would not be a great thing for a Vegas team who has gotten rid of their future to win now. I want to go ahead and move over to the Mass Mutual East Division. This, to me, has some of the most fun playoff matchups of them all. I'm going to start out with the number 1 versus number 4 seed with Pittsburgh and the Islanders. This is another one of those ones that it's going to be really fun to watch. I think the Islanders, who haven't necessarily been great to close out the year, are going to find a way to stay in this series. I think they're going to stay locked in. I think it's going to be a 6-game Pittsburgh win. Pittsburgh has been so good, though, in their last 10 games. They're finishing out the season strong. I just think that Pittsburgh is too good of a hockey team to sit there and say, okay, yeah, we're going to let this go. And I think that if you think back a few years ago, the Islanders swept them. To me, what I see out of this is the Penguins are good with their superstars. They're good with their supporting cast. They're good all around. And I think Pittsburgh has a legitimate chance to make a run at this. They're maybe my favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year if you were to go look at my predictions for the rest of the playoffs as of right now. but Pittsburgh is so good, and you're about to see a playoff Sidney Crosby. I just think that it's going to be very difficult for the Islanders to win, but they're going to make it a pain for Pittsburgh, and I think that one's going to go to 6 games just because of the way the Islanders play. I think it's going to be a really intense series, and I'm excited to watch it. Next up, we have the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. Now, technically, Washington is the favorite in this series. They're the higher seed, but what I'm seeing is that most people are taking Boston, and I think it's the right choice. I think it's going to be Boston. This is one of the ones that I actually have not going to 7 games. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a war and it's going to be intense, and that would be awesome with the Chara storyline and things like that. What I think is going to happen, though, is I think Boston's going to win in 4 or 5 and knock off Washington and just kind of end it. I just don't know if Washington has the right mental headspace right now to win a series against a team like Boston, who, yeah, they lost some guys defensively this past season, but a team that has been hot going into the playoffs. They added Taylor Hall, who has been scoring at a crazy rate. I just think that Boston's going to win this series, and I look forward to seeing how this series goes. And that actually starts, I'm recording this on Saturday. That series starts tonight, and so I'm excited to see that first game of that series. I think that's going to be the series to watch, though, just for pure entertainment's sake. All right, moving over to the Scotia North Division. We're going to start out with Edmonton and Winnipeg. This is one of those series that I think is super exciting because you get to watch Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl battle it out against the Winnipeg Jets. This is going to be a fun series, I think. I'm just excited for Connor McDavid in the playoffs. If you go watch this guy firsthand, and Draisaitl as well, they are some of the most dominant players you can see. I think that what's going to start happening is that's going to start translating over into this playoffs. It hasn't happened yet, but I think that what we're going to see is I think we're going to see them win this series. And I think it's going to be probably in around 5 or 6 games would be my guess. To sit there and watch the Oilers win. Mike Smith has been good for them. The Oilers are coming in real hot right now. They're heating up at just the right time. They've been so good, and so much of that is having to do with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And I think that they're going to be a team to watch in this playoffs as well. And I think they take out the Jets. I'm giving the Jets some games simply because I think Connor Hellebuck has the ability to win the games for the Jets. And just all he has to do is be good. But the Jets have been so bad to close out the season. I don't know if they have a real shot at beating Edmonton. Could come back and eat those words, but I don't think they do. The next matchup, Toronto and Montreal, the big media empires of hockey, the 2 biggest hockey markets there are. Comment down below who you think the bigger hockey market is. And yeah, Vancouver fans, I know you think that you're a huge market, but let's be fair. Compared to Toronto and Montreal, you're not that big of a deal. This series is going to be insane. You have a team who's clearly not as good, Montreal. One of the worst teams to make the playoffs this year. As a matter of fact, they are the worst team to make the playoffs this year. They haven't been good. They've been plagued by injuries. And then you have Toronto. This team who historically struggles in the playoffs. This team who really has a complicated time getting past the first round. Can't even get past the Blue Jackets in the first round of last year's play-in round. Montreal has a lot to play for here. And when I say they have a lot to play for, they don't have as much to lose. In saying that, I think this is the year Toronto takes the jump. I think this is the year Toronto is able to get past the first round. This is not a bold pick. A lot of people are picking this. But I think this is one of the to me, this is the toughest one to call because of who Montreal and Toronto are. But I think this year you see Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and John Tavares. And you also can have Joe Thornton and Wayne Simmons and Jack Campbell has been great. And you can sit there and look at the defensive core for Toronto, and for the first time in a long time, they look decent. I've watched a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs games this year. I do think that Toronto is going to be the team that wins this series. I would love for you to comment down below who you think is going to win this series, and if you think Toronto's mindset isn't going to be there in order for them to get through and win this series. And here we get to the Discover Central, where we're going to close out our first round predictions. We're going to start out with the Battle of Florida. the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Now, this is a series that a lot of people are choosing the Lightning. I don't think the Lightning are going to do well in this series. As a matter of fact, I think Florida's going to win this series in 5. Let me tell you why. Florida plays more of a playoff style than Tampa. And yeah, Tampa won the Stanley Cup last year. I get that. That is totally fair. But I think Florida's playing a game right now that is more focused on what you need to do in the playoffs. Sam Bennett has been incredible. I think that Barkov is the most, and people have been saying he's the most underrated player for a lot of years. He's still underrated. When you watch him in person, I know his teammates have said he's incredible. I think he's one of the top 5 players in the NHL in all-around play. Just an incredible player. You could sit there and say the D-core is suffering because of Ekblad, but I really don't hate the way their defensemen play. The big question mark for Florida is Bobrovsky the guy who's going to win you games? Is it Drieger? Whoever it is. I think Florida wins this series, and I think they win it pretty convincingly. I don't think Stamkos and Kucherov coming back are going to make that big of a difference for Tampa. So look for Florida to win this series. Sorry, Vinny LeCavalier. It's not happening this year, buddy. I know your name's in the rafters, but not this year, man. Last year was your year. Alrighty, up next we have the series that we're focusing on here. We have the Nashville Predators, the number 4 seed, versus the number 1 seed in the Discover Central, the Carolina Hurricane. Here's the thing about both of these teams. Both of them are good. Now, there's no arguing Carolina had the better season. There's no arguing that Carolina's the better team. But the playoffs are a different animal. And I haven't seen a single analyst choose Nashville to win this series. Nashville's 7-2-1 in their last 10. Carolina is 5-2-3 in their last 10. Nashville's been playing playoff hockey for a month and a half. Carolina's been on cruise control for a month and a half. There seems to be this unanimous thing among the media that is saying Nashville's going to lose. Carolina's too good. Are they? That much better than what Nashville has been. Think about it like this. When Nashville started heating up, they got really, really hot. Their players bought into a system. And it might be a thing that I watch them night in and night out, and I see how they play, and I just feel who Nashville is, and I feel confident in that. But for some reason, I have this feeling that Nashville can win this series. And I have a feeling they can do it in 6 games. These first 2 games in Raleigh are huge. I think that if Nashville goes in and steals a game in Raleigh, look out, Carolina. Because the Nashville Predators are coming for you. And they're coming for you hard. And I wouldn't be shocked to see the Nashville Predators knock off the Carolina Hurricane in this first round and advance to that second round versus one of the Florida teams. I think Nashville wants it. They're getting players back healthy for the first time all year. And they have a team who has been playing lights out for 30 games. The question is it enough to beat Carolina? Do you think so? Comment down there. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure that you disagree with all my picks. That's totally fine. Go ahead and leave a like. Share this with a friend if you think that it's somewhat credible or if you just want to make fun of me. And it would mean the world to me if you would hit a subscribe button. The plan is to break down every game that Nashville and Carolina play throughout the playoffs as they go through and have it posted right here on this channel, as well as different vlogs of going to the playoff games as they take place here in Nashville. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day.